Every season, some of the biggest names in football make you question everything you thought you knew about them. Ballon d'Or contenders going missing, record signings turning invisible, players who had the whole world convinced they were elite, suddenly looking very, very ordinary. This season had it all. And today, we are counting down 10 players who simply did not live up to the hype. Some of these will shock you, some will hurt, and by the time we get to number 1, you might just want to close the app. Don't, because this is one list you need to see to the end. Let's start with a player who looks set to take the Premier League by storm, but has been invisible for months, Nick Woltemade. When Newcastle broke their club record to sign this guy from Stuttgart for £65 million plus add-ons, there were serious questions, but Woltemade answered them fast. He scored on his Premier League debut against Wolves. He scored on his Champions League debut against Union Saint-Gilloise. He even became only the third player in history to score in his first 3 home games at St James's Park, alongside legends like Le Ferdinand and Alan Shearer. This looked like a bargain, and then the goals dried up almost completely. For a striker brought in to replace Alexander Isak, 8 goals and 3 assists across his Premier League campaign is nowhere near the expected return for that kind of money. One brutal stat that stands out: he averages just 31 touches per game as a starter, making him one of the least involved centre forwards in the entire Premier League this season. The hype was justified early, the follow-through was not. And speaking of expensive signings not delivering what was promised, let's move across to another Newcastle arrival. Jon Wissa joined from Brentford for £50 million after back-to-back seasons where he was genuinely one of the best forwards in the Premier League. 13 league goals last season, clinical, dangerous, and one half of a terrifying partnership with Brian Mbeumo. But at Newcastle, he has managed just 1 Premier League goal in 18 appearances. Reports from The Athletic emerged that the club are already expected to part ways with him this summer, potentially at a loss. He never replicated the chemistry or the confidence he had at Brentford. For a player of his caliber arriving with that price tag, this has been one of the most expensive individual disappointments of the entire transfer window. Now, that one might surprise you, but what about a teenage sensation who forced his way out of Manchester United and found things even harder at his next club? Alejandro Garnacho made headlines forcing a move away from Old Trafford in the summer of 2025, convinced his level had outgrown the Red Devils. He joined Chelsea for £40 million in August. But in 23 Premier League appearances for the Blues, Garnacho has scored just 1 goal and provided 4 assists. His shooting accuracy has been poor. Chelsea have reportedly already been sounded out about selling him after less than 1 full season, which tells you everything. For a player who demanded more than United could offer, this was not the statement of intent he was looking for. And if you thought Garnacho's numbers were bad, wait until you hear about a player who has been bounced from club to club and still cannot find his footing: Christopher Nkunku. The Frenchman left Chelsea for AC Milan in a £36 million deal last summer, with fans hoping Serie A would be the fresh start he desperately needed after 2 injury-disrupted seasons in London. It has not worked out. Nkunku started just 12 Serie A games all season, scoring only 5 goals and 3 assists. Allegri preferred Rafael Leao and Christian Pulisic in attack every week, and Nkunku was left on the outside looking in. Milan have reportedly already put him on the transfer list after 1 season. Remember, this is a man who scored 58 goals in 2 seasons at RB Leipzig and was one of the most feared attackers in European football. What has happened to him is genuinely one of the saddest career declines of this generation, but at least Nkunku has been trying to reinvent himself elsewhere.
Average players train hard, elite players train smart. We didn't just build a mat, we engineered a blueprint for the 1%. Every line, every angle, and every drill was crafted through months of studying elite player biomechanics. Translate muscle memory into matchday dominance. Goal 90's own training mat comes with the app to take you to the next level. Get yours today.
One of our next players had the opposite problem. He stayed, had the minutes, and still could not deliver the way everyone expected. Milos Kerkez. Liverpool signed the Hungarian left-back for nearly £47 million from Bournemouth ahead of this season with enormous expectations. He is 22, pacey, athletic, and loves to push forward. But 28 Premier League appearances with just 2 goals and 1 assist. For a fullback sold as a dynamic, attack-minded weapon for a Liverpool side built to dominate, those numbers are underwhelming. He has also picked up 4 yellow cards in the league and has been inconsistent defensively at the highest level. Kirkes is young and has time on his side, but year 1 in a Liverpool shirt has not matched the hype surrounding his arrival. Right, now we head to players who were already established at their clubs and still fell short of expectations. Phil Foden at Manchester City. 2 seasons ago, this man was arguably the best player in England, winning the PFA Player of the Year award. This season he has recorded 7 goals and 3 assists in 30 Premier League appearances. Now listen, those numbers are not a disaster, but for someone operating at the level he was, they represent a meaningful drop. His chances created have fallen sharply. He has rotated in and out of Pep Guardiola's preferred starting lineup far more than his talent should allow. The good news is, he has picked up form towards the end of the season. But for the bulk of this campaign, Foden has been a shadow of the player City fans know he can be, and from one underperforming City player to the biggest midfield talent England has produced in a generation, Jude Bellingham at Real Madrid. When Bellingham burst onto the scene in his debut season, he scored 23 La Liga goals, won the title and the Champions League, and had the whole world talking. This season, he has 5 goals and 4 assists in La Liga. Still useful, still contributing, but the breathtaking, jaw-dropping performances that defined his arrival have been far fewer. Bellingham has clearly had to adapt to a different Madrid without Modric and Kroos pulling strings around him, and it has shown the ceiling is still enormous. But this has been a quieter, more human season than anyone expected from him. Now we are heading to Stamford Bridge for one that is genuinely painful: Cole Palmer. In his debut Premier League season, this man scored 22 goals. Last season he won the Club World Cup and the Conference League with Chelsea, capped by a stunning World Cup final performance. He was the face of English football. This season, disrupted by injuries and the demands of a new manager, Palmer has recorded 9 goals and 1 assist in the Premier League. Compare that to 17 goal contributions across a similar minute total last season, and the decline is sharp. His non-penalty expected goals numbers have dropped, Chelsea's performances have suffered. And while Palmer remains Chelsea's most important player, the consistency that made him terrifying last season has been missing for too long. Now, imagine paying £116 million for a player and watching them record just 5 goals and 3 assists in the league. That is exactly what Liverpool have experienced with Florian Wirtz. The German attacking midfielder arrived from Bayer Leverkusen as one of the most anticipated Premier League signings in memory. At Leverkusen, he was elite, creative, quick, a constant threat. But adapting to the pace and intensity of the Premier League has proved a real challenge. He was publicly criticised for underwhelming performances for both Liverpool and Germany in the opening months, and was slammed after a poor showing in Germany's defeat to Slovakia in World Cup qualifying. 5 goals and 3 assists in 32 Premier League appearances for £116 million. By any measure, that is a difficult return. Wirtz has the quality to come back stronger, but season 1 has been a tough lesson. And finally, the one that has genuinely divided fans more than any other: Dean Hodgson at Real Madrid. When Madrid brought this 21-year-old in from Bournemouth, the idea was clear: a young, commanding centre-back who would anchor their defensive line for the next decade. Instead, this season has been defined by disciplinary problems: 7 yellow cards and a red card across 26 La Liga appearances. His positioning has been questioned. His decision-making when pressed has drawn regular criticism. Madrid have conceded too many goals with him in the backline, and the performances have too often left fans frustrated. The talent is visible, the composure and the consistency needed to thrive at the Bernabeu are not there yet. And at Real Madrid, yet might already be a luxury he cannot afford. 10 players, 10 disappointing seasons, some with the ability and time to bounce back, others who might already be running out of chances. Football does not wait for anyone, and this season proved that hype means absolutely nothing without performance. Which of these 10 players disappointed you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video like this from us. Catch you in the next one. Bye.